I mean, first of all, how's the weather out there? How are you enjoying it?
It's nice, man. When I look at, I got kind of nippy, and I'm thinking, I'm like, where am I? And I get out here, man, and I'm 65 degrees, 69
Wow.
degrees. Tonight it'll be 64 degrees. I'm like, this ain't right, man. I'm in a, I don't know where I'm at, bro. The weather is too great. I'm not never coming back. I ain't never coming back,
See,
man.
you say you're not never coming back. I was just going to ask you, how long were you planning to stay out of camp this year? Because you've been, and then tell us how many camps you've been to.
Chris, I don't know. I don't keep up with it. You know, I did
Yeah.
9 or 10 years with the Cowboys, 10, 11 years with the Cowboys. Then I started coming out here probably about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Chris, man, but each camp, and I don't know why I fall for this. Each camp, it's like you know, when you're a young kid and it's Christmas, you kind of know what toys you're gonna get, but you still can't go to sleep that night because you just excited about getting up, seeing what's happening. That's the feeling I got right now, man. I just want to see how they handle this 2022 team, man.
So, Nate, I mean, you've seen camp from many perspectives as media member and, of course, as a player. What's it like that first day of camp? What's the environment? Because you've described it like for you coming in right now, but what was it like coming in as a player?
I'm going to tell you, man, my first year as a rookie with the Washington Commanders, Astros, I don't know. You know, I don't know what their name are.
Yeah.
But
the football team.
It was so exciting, man. I mean, you can't sleep, but you're not tired because you're anxious to get out there, but you're scared because you don't know what's going to happen. And then you get there, man, and it's just one big long practice meeting. And by the end of that day, your first day, all that excitement gone. Because you realize this is a job.
Yeah.
This thing is real. And you're dealing with grown men. You look over there, man, and some of these dudes got gray hair. You know, you're like, what in the world? You know, the coaches, they calling you son. You like, you got a mixture of things going on in your head, man. What did I just walk out of? College, carefree, doing what you want. You know, running the girls and doing this and doing that and, you know, going to class when you want to. I mean, at least like when I wanted to. Now you're into a world where you have to be late is not an option. Not knowing your assignments is not an option. You know, and then you're at the bottom of the depth chart. That's something I never experienced as a player. You know, I went to the Washington football team, and brother, I was so deep on the depth chart when the coach called my name, I didn't realize he was calling. He had called me like 3 times. Nate Newton and Nathaniel Newton. Oh, well, that's me, coach, because I'm down here number 12 out of you know, April 4th. They're going to keep with 3 guards, and I'm number 12? Come on, coach. Why are you calling my name?
Okay, so let's talk about back in the day. And nowadays, they don't have 2 days in training camps anymore. But back in the day, you played for Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson. I'm not talking about regular season. I want to talk about training camp. Yeah. Who had the tougher training camp, Landry or Jimmy?
You know what? They were both hard because the first day you walk, it wasn't no acclimation. Is that I'm saying that right? Acclimation time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you got used to the weather. You hit the field full gear running and hitting. Jimmy was more physical because you was there, Chris. Our first practice was 7 on 9. Ooh. And it was 15 inside run plays.
Oklahoma drills.
Oklahoma with 7 offensive players and 9 defensive players. And Coach Johnson, we're going to thud up the first day. And Emmitt Smith's going to be funny. Like, Coach, what is thudding up? Take a son of a to the ground. You know, made Jimmy mad. I'm like, oh, my God. But Coach Landry would get you there, and it would still be physical. You know, you still would hit. But what he would get you at the end of practice, up, downs, rolling the field, running 100-yard dashes, sprints. That's how he would kill you and get you mentally and physically tough, you know. And so That was the big difference between Coach Johnson and you was going to be beat up with Coach Johnson. You was going to be physically for the first 10 days. Chris, you were there.
Oh, yeah.
We would be beat up. I mean, knuckles white,
to the
knees
bone,
all banged up, man, elbows bleeding. I mean, it was ugly, man.
Yeah.
Nate Newton on 105 Through the Fan. We're talking to him on the Diamond Factory hotline. Nate, I mean, you're talking about how those guys toughened you up back in the day. As you know, the CBA and things have changed the way that training camp goes. And there's been a lot talked about when it comes to the toughness of this team. How do you anticipate they go about injecting that toughness with the parameters and restrictions that they have now?
Yeah.
My brother, I wanted to ask that question to Coach so hard today, but I knew the answer. You have limited time. Your installation you've worked on during the off season, you trying to make sure they've retained that right there for the next 2 or 3 days. So that is key. To know what to do is a lot of times better than being the better athlete if you know what to do and where to go. So I understand that right there. But they have to find a way to, at the end of the day, be more physical than the other teams. That is what's separating the elite teams. You can tell me that Kansas City is not physical. That you'll be wrong. Mm-hmm. You can tell me that the Cincinnati Bengals are not physical. You'll be wrong. What I've always tried to tell people, you don't have to go into every game and be physical. But when you play against elite athletes with elite talent and got the ability to think above their necks, the only thing that separates me from you is how tough I am. Am I more physical than you? That's the only separation. It's that animal instinct to dominate another. You know, it's a bunch of alpha males out there. Now who has the most? And the only thing that separates us, because everything else is equal, is how much are you willing to take? Can I beat you into submission? Mm-hmm. And that's what this Cowboys team, every game, you guys heard it, after every game, after every loss that they had, which wasn't a lot, but they were more physical.
Yeah. That's what they said.
You heard it every time.
Every time.
You know, they kind of played harder than us. It's harder only means that they were a little bit more physical. I knew we had lost the playoff game when the 49ers, when we gave them the ball, and they went down and ran that ball down our throat and scored. I told the guys, I told Isaiah Stanback, I told Barry Church, I told Kyle Yeoman, I said, the game is over. Oh, 4 minutes in? I said, I done been here before. This thing here now, equal talent. They both had talent on both sides. We didn't have Tom Brady. They didn't have Tom Brady. So this came down to who's going to have the better team. They had the most physical team.
Yep.
And they won.
Yep, just like that. And that's the mantra this year, like you mentioned before. They got rid of some talent, saying they wanted some more dogs so they can be more physical and so they can, like you said, impose their will on some people. We're talking to Nate Newton. He's out in Oxnard. We had a listener from the 651 want to ask you this one quick question. I'm going to follow it up with the scouting report question I got for you. It says, Nate, did you drive out to Oxnard like you always do?
I drove out there. It took me 21 hours. I left at 10 Dallas time Sunday night. I stopped in New Mexico, somewhere in New Mexico, got me a 2-hour power nap and brought it on in. I got in last night, Pacific time, 12 o'clock, right on the head. I fell up in there. You know, man, it was a great drive.
Man, you be doing some driving. Drive. I'm always impressed with that. In fact,
let me say this, Chris, because that thing of physicality is really on my mind, and it should be on every Cowboy mind. This thing here, if we lose a game this year, everybody has major turnover. Everybody's going to have at least 30% to 35% of their roster turnover. Now, the key is to make sure that ain't happening on the top part of your roster. You know, it's happening more to the middle and the bottom. But you're going to have loss of players. They have to open their camp up with some form of physical program, whether it's an inside run, whether it's one-on-one pass blocking, one-on-one run versus pass. They're gonna have to do something, man. That physical thing, y'all watch that this year, and I'm gonna let that go.
Now, Nate, you talking about physicality, and that takes me to the first pick for these Cowboys, Tyler Smith. You are an expert at offensive line play, so no one better to talk to about this. That guy has the physical tools, but the talk is that the technique is what needs to get there. How concerned or excited are you for this play of Tyler Smith, particularly in camp?
Me, I love it. I love it that they went out and got a physical guy. But now, how hard is your coach going to coach him? You can't back up. I told the guys, and they kind of laughed at me. I told the guys that we do work around the Cowboys, and most of our media guys, I say, in your subconscious mind, Jimmy used to work on the subconscious mind. I said, every time you see this guy, mention something about punching straight, about getting your hands inside. Anything that shows him or tells him to get his hands inside, you always remind him. You cannot tell him enough. He's got to be very, very conscious. But the key to this right here is the coach has got to coach it, and he's got to get it taken. But he can't lose his aggressiveness. Because if he loses aggressiveness, we should have kept the last guy we let get out of here.
Exactly. We're talking about Lyle Collins. And now, when they first drafted Tyler Hill, by the way, Tyler Smith. Shout out to Fort Worth. That's where it's from. They were saying, Steven was talking, oh, man, we haven't had a guy like this since Big Nasty, Eric Williams. We hadn't had a guy like this since Larry Allen. Now, we don't want to give them Hall of Fame kind of props yet, but have you seen some nasty out of him? And you think, is that what you're going to be looking for in training camp this time? We
still have the disappointing thing is we still have another week to wait before they get in pads. They got 3 or 4 days, no pads. And see, that is where this kid gets his work at, training himself to get his hands inside, to be physical, playing with great technique. And that's where coaches and ownership got to start fighting. You don't want that stuff we did, the prehistoric days. You don't want your players beat up. I get that. I'm not one of those veteran guys or older guys that be like, oh, well, they need – No, you can be physical in the practices that you practice because you're only practicing once a day. So you can be physical because you have the rest of the day to rest, and you're off. If you start practicing at 7 in the morning, you got 12 hours. You got 11 hours with the players and an extra hour with the rookies. So you can be physical. Coach them will have to be physical, and they have to teach this kid, and that's all you have to do.
That's Nate Newton, DallasCowboys.com. Nate, we appreciate you greatly. And look, I know
Spitting facts.
We love it. We love talking to you. In fact, I know that we haven't gotten a chance to see these linemen. I would love to check back in with you and see what your thoughts are later on in camp once we get a chance to really see him work.
Yeah, give me a week to watch him, man, to watch him work because this thing is not right, man. They're not giving him a chance to work and to get better. We want the guy we're gonna see in at the end of training camp won't be that same guy in 6 weeks into the season. He'll be so much better 6 weeks into the season.
That'll work.
Hey, appreciate you, New. You have a great time. Enjoy that lovely California weather.
Hey, man, y'all just tell me what time to pick you up at the airport.
We're going to have to sneak on in there.
Yeah.